All right, we're back. So, we're continuing to read the Mahaparinivana Sutra, and we're on page 60. So, we'll continue reading where we left off. Kasyapa said further, O Tathagata, why do we say eternal? You said the Buddha, say, oh my gosh, I can't read that. You, the Buddha, say that when the light of a lamp has gone out, there is no direction or place to be named. The same is the case with the Tathagata. Once dead, there can be no direction or place that can be named. The Buddha said, O Kasyapa, you should not say, when the light of a lamp has gone out, there is not direction or place to be named. The same is the case with the Tathagata. When there is extinction, there can be no direction or place to be named. O good man, when a lamp lit by a man or woman, any lamp, big or small, filled with oil, let me reread that. When a lamp is lit by a man or woman, any lamp, big or small, has to be filled with oil. When there is oil, the lamp keeps alight. When the oil is spent, the light also disappears along with it. That light going out can be compared to the extinction of illusion. Although the light has gone out, the utensil remains behind. The same is the case with the Tathagata. Although illusion has gone, the Dharma body remains forever. O good man, what does this mean? It does mean that both the light and the lamp, or does it mean that both the light and the lamp disappear? It is so, or sorry, I didn't see that. Is it so? Kasyapa answered, No, world-honored one, both do not disappear at the same time, and yet it is non-eternal. If the Dharma body is compared to the lamp is non-eternal, so the Dharma body must also be non-eternal. O good man, you should not refute in this manner. We speak of the world of a we speak in the world of a utensil. The Tathagata world-honored one is the unsurpassed utensil of Dharma. A utensil of the world can be non-eternal, but not that of the Tathagata. Of all things, nirvana is eternal. The Tathagata has this. Thus he is eternal. Also, O good man, you say that the light of the lamp goes out. This is the nirvana attained by an arhat. Because all the illusions of greed and craving are done away with, we can compare this to the lamplight going out. The anagamin yet has greed. As there is still greed left, we cannot say that this is the same as the lamplights going out. That is why I said in the past, in an undisclosed way, that it is like a dying lamp. It is not that nirvana is to be equated with the dying off of the lamplight. The anagamin does not come about time and again. He does not come back to the 25 existences. Again, he does not gain any more the smelly body and body of vermin, the body that is fed, the poisonous body. Such is an anagamin. If a body arises again, this is an agamen. When the body does not arise again, this is an anagamen. What is possessed of coming and going is agamen. What has no coming or going is anagamen. I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
Just to reiterate that means a rebirth of the consciousness into the body, not the body that is the same body arising as if it were from the dead. So it
Oh,
wouldn't be
yeah.
a reanimation of the same body. It would be a rebirth of the consciousness in a different body.
Yes, thank you for clarifying.
Thank you.
Then Bodhisattva Kasyapa said to the Buddha, O world-honored one, you, the Buddha, say that the all-Buddha world-honored one has an undisclosed storehouse. But this is not so. Why not? The all-Buddha world-honored one has privately spoken words, but not an undisclosed storehouse. For example, this is analogous to the case of a magician, his mechanical appliances, and his wooden image. One may see the motions of bending, stretching, and looking up and down, but one does not know that inside there is a man who makes things proceed thus. But with the Buddhist teaching, it is not like this. This teaching enables all beings to know and see. How can one say that the all-Buddha world-honored one has anything undisclosed? The Buddha praised Kasyapa and said, well said, O good man. It is just as you say. The Tathagata, truth to tell, does not keep anything hidden. How so? It is as in the case of the full moon in autumn, when it is all open, bare, clean, pure, and cloudless, so that all people can see it. What the Tathagata says is also the same. It is open, bare, clear, pure, and cloudless. Dull people do not understand and speak of a secret in connection with it. The wise, understanding the matter, do not say that there is anything secretly stored away. O good man, there is a man here who stores gold and silver amounting to yes and yes. Being a miser, he does not give to the poor and help them. Anything stored in this fashion could be called secretly stored. It is not thus with the Tathagata. Over the course of innumerable long kalpas, he stores wonderful laws and rare treasures. He does not begrudge, he always gives to all beings. How can we say that he secretly stores? O good man, there is a man here who is lacking a part of his body, such as an eye, hand, or leg. He feels shy and does not allow others to see. As all people do not see it, they say secretly concealed. It is not so with the Tathagata. He is perfect in wonderful Dharma and lacking in nothing, allowing all others to see. How could one say that the Tathagata secretly stores things? O good man, a poor man, for example, has debts. He fears the man to whom he owes money. He hides and does not wish to show himself. Here we may speak of hiding. The case is not the same with the Tathagata. He does not shoulder the mundane laws of all beings, but does their supra-mundane laws. He does not hide such. Why not? Because he always thinks of beings as his own only son and expounds unsurpassed Dharma. O good man, there is a rich man, for example, who has much wealth. He only has one son. He loves the son very much and cannot forget him. He shows all his wealth to his son. So is it with the Tathagata. He views all beings as his own only son. O good man, this is as in the case of worldly people. Men and women conceal their genitalia behind clothing. because such are ugly things to look upon. Here we speak of concealing. It is not thus with the Tathagata. He has long since done away with genitalia, as he does not have such. There is no reason for concealment. O good man, the Brahmins do not like to have their words and what they say heard by Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras. Why not? Because there are many things in their words that are wrong and wicked. But the Tathagata's wonderful Dharma is such that it is lovely in its beginning, lovely in its middle, and lovely in its conclusion. So we cannot speak here of a thing hidden or stored away. O good man, for example, there is here a rich man who only has a single son. He always thinks of and loves this boy. He takes the boy to a teacher to be taught. Apprehensive that things might not progress quickly, he takes the boy back home. As he loves him and teaches him the alphabet day and night very patiently. Yet he does not teach him the Vyakarana. Why not? Because the child is small and is not up to such lessons. Oh, good man, now the rich man finishes teaching the alphabet, but is the boy ready to be taught the Vyakarana? No, O world-honored one. Is the rich man concealing anything from the child? No, O world-honored one. Why not? Because the child is too young, so he does not teach. It is not that the boy is not taught because the man begrudges him. Why not? If there is any jealousy or grudging, we may say he conceals things. It is not thus with the Tathagata. How could we say that he hides and conceals? The Buddha said, well said, well said. O good man, it is as you say. If there is any anger, jealousy, or begrudging, we can well say that he is concealing things. The Tathagata has no anger or jealousy. How can you say that he hides things away? O good man, the great rich man is the Tathagata himself. The only child is being. The Tathagata views all beings as he views his only son. Teaching his only son relates to the Shravaka disciples, the alphabet, and the 9 types of sutras. The Vyakarana relates to the Vaipulya Mahayana Sutras. Since all the Shravaka disciples do not possess the power of wisdom, the Tathagata teaches them the alphabet, the 9 types of sutra. And he does not yet speak of Vyakarana, the Vaipulya Mahayana. O good man, when the rich man's son has grown up and is able to cope with the lessons, if the Vyakarana is not taught, then we may well speak of concealment. If all Shravakas are grown up and can indeed cope with the Mahayana Vyakarana lessons, but the Tathagata begrudges and does not teach them, we could well say that the Tathagata begrudges, hides, and conceals the teaching. But this is not so with the Tathagata. The Tathagata does not conceal. This is as with the rich man who, having taught the alphabet, next teaches the Vyakarana. I also do the same. To all my disciples, I have spoken about the alphabet and the 9 types of sutra. Having done so, I now, after this, talk about the Vyakarana. This is none other than the Tathagata's eternal and unchanging nature.
Also next, O good man, it is as in the summer months, when great clouds call forth thunder and great rain, as a result of which all farmers can sow seeds and harvest things. Those who do not sow cannot expect to harvest. It is not through the workings of the Naga kings that one cannot harvest, and these Naga kings also do not store. The same with me. I let fall the great rain of the great Nirvana Sutra. Both there are those beings who sow good seeds, harvest the buds and fruits of wisdom. Those who have not sown can expect nothing. The Tathagata is not to blame if they gain nothing. The Tathagata does not hide anything away. Kasyapa said again, I now definitely know that the Tathagata, world-honored one, never hides and conceals. You, the Buddha, say that the Vikarana, I'm not sure how to read that, Vikarana, refers to the eternal and unchanging nature of the Buddha Tathagata. But this cannot be the meaning. Why not? Because the Buddha said before in Agatha, all Buddhas, Pratyeka Buddhas, and Sravakas abandon the non-eternal body. How could this not be so with the common mortals? Now you say, eternal and unchanging. What does this mean? The Buddha said, O good man, as I had to teach the Sravaka disciples the alphabet, I spoke thus in Agatha. O good man, King Prajnadhit lost his mother. He cried sorrowfully. He loved her and could not bear the sorrow. He came to me. I asked, O king, why are you so afflicted with sorrow? The king said, the queen mother of the state has died. O world-honored one, if anyone can bring my mother back to life, I will give away my state, elephants, horses, the 7 treasures, and even my life. Thus will I reward him. I said to the king, O great king, please do not lose yourself in worry and sorrow. Do not weep. When life ends for a person, this is death. All Buddhas, Sravakas, Pratyeka Buddhas, and disciples have to part with this body. How could common mortals not have to? O good man, to teach the king the alphabet, I spoke thus in this gatha. I now expound to my Sravaka disciples the Vyakarana and say that the Tathagata is eternal and that he does not change. If any person says that the Tathagata is not non-eternal, how could this man's tongue not drop off? Kasyapa further replied, you said, nothing is supported, and I feel satisfied with the meal I take. It is as in the case of a bird that flies in the sky, whose tracks are hard to trace. What might this mean? O world-honored one, of all those congregated here, who might be one who does not hoard? Who might be called one satisfied with food? Who are those who fly through the sky and whose tracks cannot be traced? And where does one go to when one leaves this place?
The Buddha said, O good man, hoarding is nothing but of wealth and treasure. O good man, of hoarding there are 2 kinds. One of what is created and the other of what is non-created. The hoarding of the created is what Sravakas do. The hoarding of the non-created is what the Tathagata does. O good man, of priests there are 2 kinds. One is of the created and the other is of the non-created. The priest of the created is the Sravaka. The Sravaka priest does not hoard. Male or female menials are unlawful things. So is storing rice, bean paste, sesame, and large and small beans in a storehouse. If someone were to say that the Tathagata permits the keeping of servants, male or female, and such other things, his tongue would shrink. I say that all my Sravaka disciples are non-storing, or they are those satisfied with their food. If a person greedily seeks food, such a person is not satisfied. Saying that it is hard to trace the tracks means that one is close to unsurpassed enlightenment. I say, the person goes, but there is no place to go to. Kasyapa further said, the priest of the created does not hoard. how can the priest of the non-created do so? The priest of the non-created is the Tathagata. How could the Tathagata hoard things up? Hoarding means storing away and concealing. Thus the Tathagata expounds and does not begrudge. How could we say that he hoards things away? Saying that the tracks are untraceable relates to nirvana. In nirvana, there remains no trace of the sun, moon, stars, constellations, cold, heat, wind, rain, birth, age, illness, death, or the 25 existences. Nirvana is segregated from apprehension, sorrow, and illusion, such as the abode of nirvana and the Tathagata, who is eternal and does not change. Hence, the Tathagata comes here to the forest of sal trees and enters parinirvana by the great nirvana.
The Buddha said to Kasyapa, great means wide and extensive in nature. It is as we speak of the great man, when the lifespan of that man is infinite. As this man abides in wonderful Dharma, we call him superior to all men. It is as in the case of the 8 awkward minds of a great man, about which I speak. If a person makes this an is, many persons would also be thus. If a person possesses the 8 qualities, he is the best. The nirvana of which we speak has no pox or warts. O good man, for example, a man here who has been hit by a poisoned arrow and who is in great pain. A learned doctor comes and extracts the poisoned arrow and applies a superb medicine. As a result, the pain goes away, and the man gains peace. This doctor visits castles, towns, and hamlets. He goes to where people suffer from the pain of the pox or warts, applies his art, and removes the pain. O good man, the same is the case with the Tathagata. Having attained all equal enlightenment, he becomes a great doctor. Seeing all beings of Jambudvipa hit by the poisoned arrows of illusion and illusions of lust, anger, and ignorance, and suffering in the course of innumerable kalpas, he applies the sweet medicine of the Mahayana Sutras. The treatment completed, he moves on to other places where people are suffering from the poisonous arrows of illusion. There he manifests his attaining of enlightenment and gives treatment. Thus we speak of Mahaparinivana.
Mahaparinirvana is the place where we all get emancipated. Wherever there are people to be subjugated, he manifests himself. On account of this truly great meaning, we say great nirvana.
Bodhisattva Kasyapa said further to the Buddha, O world-honored one, do all the so-called doctors thoroughly cure pain of the pox and warts, or do they not? O good man, there are 2 kinds of pain relative to the pox and warts. One is curable, and the other is incurable. The doctor cures what is curable, but not what is incurable.
Kasyapa said again, according to what the Buddha says, the Tathagata has cured all the beings of Jambudvipa. The treatment completed, how could there still be beings who have not yet attained nirvana? If it is the case that not everyone has yet attained nirvana, how can the Tathagata say, the treatment completed, I move on to other places? O good man, there are 2 kinds of beings in Jambudvipa. There are those who have faith and the others who do not. Those with faith can be cured. Why? Because such a person can definitely attain nirvana, which has no pox or warts.
O world-honored one, what can nirvana be? O good man, nirvana is emancipation. Kasyapa said, is emancipation a thing or not a thing? The Buddha said, What is no thing is the emancipation of the Travakas and Pratyeka Buddhas. What is a thing is the emancipation of the all Buddha Tathagata. These, the case being thus, O good man, emancipation is a thing and not a thing. The Tathagata speaks to all Sravakas and presents it as no thing. O world honored one, if it is not a thing, how can Sravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas live? O good man, that which is such as thoughtlessness, non-thoughtlessness, heaven, is also both a thing and not a thing. The self, too, is not a thing. One might argue saying, if thoughtlessness, non-thoughtlessness, heaven, is not a thing, how can a person live and come and go, advance and stand still? All such matters relate to the world of the Buddha, but they are not what Sravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas can rightly know. I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
That's why it's so important to be able to practice and understand the practice of Supreme Bodhi. Because when you're in Supreme Bodhi, there is no thought. So when there is no thought, as I'm kind of preaching to the choir, but for those who do not know, when there is no thought, there cannot be anything. So therefore, to have the potential to have thought is still of the Tathagata store, but as yet is not anything because it's potential.
Yeah. So it can be both a thing and not a thing, and also neither, because you don't know, the thought hasn't arisen.
Right. He would, this practice is not the practice of nihilism or the rejection of any existence as nihilism is defined. This is the practice of quiet mind, and in quiet mind there is no thought, and there in which is existence. So, because thought is the focus of this. So and so it goes right back to being very adamant about understanding how to practice Supreme Bodhi. And Supreme Bodhi again is the space in which it's no space, but it's the space in between a thought arising and thought declining. If you look up quantum physics, it's a superpositioning in quantum physics, where it is neither a particle nor a wave of light, for instance, or that superpositioning is not yes nor is it no. It's a place of steady middle ground where both can exist but neither exist. And that's what Supreme Bodhi is. And that's why he is saying it can be both something and nothing. Anyway, that's my input. Thank you. I'm really dehydrated, so I'm
Oh yeah.
I'm fixing that. But if my mouth is not quite speaking correctly, it's because I'm so freaking dehydrated. But I'm drinking water, so I'm good.
Go
Thanks.
hydrate, and we can understand. We can hear you clearly. So thank
Okay.
you.
All right, very cool. Thanks.
It is thus the same with emancipation. We also speak of matter and non-matter, and it is presented as not a thing. Also, we speak of the thought and the thoughtlessness, and this is presented as thoughtlessness. All such things belong to the world of all Buddhas, and are not what Sravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas may know. And it's interesting. Let's see. We speak of matter and non-matter, and we also speak of thought and thoughtlessness, and it's presented, right? It's presented as these things. So speaking of matter and non-matter, is presented as not a thing, and speaking of thought and thoughtlessness is presented as thoughtlessness. And he says that because once you call it something, that's a thought. And so you have to present it as such, and then it's up to us as individuals to understand and experience it for ourselves. I see your hand is up. Is that old or new?
No, it's new. It's new.
Oh,
You explained it what I was going to say there at the end, that when he said it is neither thought nor thoughtlessness, that is because thoughtlessness, like you're saying, is a thought.
Mhm.
Because it has to be something in order to be named. And that's why the skandhas, or the 5 aggregates, are so important, because as soon as you name it, it becomes something. So when you say it is thoughtless, yeah, it's something. So the idea here is that you see that when your mind is in a place in the middle where there is no thought, because the mind is quiet, there's just potential for thought, but no thought. There cannot be anything you name. So it's really important to experience Supreme Bodhi, and to understand how to experience Supreme Bodhi, and to maintain it. Not just talk about it, because as soon as you talk about it, that's not it. You got to teach that experience of it. Anyway, that's my input. Thank you so much.
absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I can speculate and say that, this Kasyapa, the question of, are you concealing anything from the teaching? And like that, this seems to be a theme in the early part of the sutra, is the assembly or parts of the assembly feeling that the teaching is too esoteric. And the parts that seem esoteric are the parts where we as individuals need to do the work to experience it for ourselves. So this expectation of the Buddha explaining, and also giving us the experience is wrong. We have to take this and we have to put the work in to experience it. And that's what the assembly here is missing. They're missing that step where they have to take ownership of their own experience. And so the Buddha is having to continue to explain in a bunch of different ways.
We saw the same thing before in a previous passage. They kept accusing him of having favorite students that he would tell everything to, and they kept saying, "No, tell the rest of us the real stuff." And you just so plainly could see that they're not getting it.
Yeah. I do remember a time when I didn't get it, and I thought that each sutra had its own different takeaway. And I have to say, after I experienced Supreme Bodhi for myself, and kind of built on reaching Supreme Bodhi more easily, I realized that most of these sutras, he's repeating himself. If not all of them. He's repeating the same message over and over and over and over again in a bunch of different ways to try to reach all of the people that he can, in the ways that he can. And normally these sutras, come from students that ask questions, so they're not just randomly, I decided to say this time. It's a question and an answer. But it's interesting how I could see that, if you're ignorant and if you haven't experienced Supreme Bodhi, and if you don't know what to do, it could seem very esoteric what we're talking about. But just everybody to know, and everybody on YouTube too, because we post this on YouTube, to know that it's not, and it's not an esoteric practice. And if there are any other questions about what we're talking about, please don't hesitate to contact us. I see your hands up again. Go ahead.
Could you define esoteric?
Esoteric, so what I understand esoteric to mean is like something that is deemed too complicated for everybody to be able to attain, or secret, or supernatural. It's something that the average person wouldn't be able to do, is what I think esoteric the term is.
Yeah. Another way of looking at it is unnecessary for the basics of survival.
Ah, I never thought about it like that.
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah, so I just want to clear that up because I know that there's a lot of mysticism with the practice of Buddhism. And like you're saying, it's unnecessary mysticism.
No.
At the bottom. Then
Bodhisattva Kasyapa said to the Buddha, O world honored one, please, please, yeah. Please condescend to explain to me what pertains to Mahaparinirvana and the meaning of emancipation. Yeah. The Buddha praised Kasyapa, saying, well said, O good man. True emancipation means segregation of one's own self from all the bonds of illusion. If one truly obtains emancipation and segregation of one's own self from the bonds of illusion, there is no self, no or nothing to conjoin, as in the case of parents, as a result of which a child is born. True emancipation is not like that. That is why emancipation is birthlessness. O Kasyapa, it is like Piramanda, which is pure in its nature. The same is the case with the Tathagata. He is not what arises through the conjoining of parents, as a result of which a child comes about. His nature is pure. Displaying of parents is to pass beings over to the other shore. True emancipation is the Tathagata. The Tathagata and emancipation are not different. It is as when we sow seeds in spring and autumn, for instance, when it is warm and wet, and as a result of which the seeds shoot out buds. True emancipation is not thus.
so with this, can you back up? I can see the congruity with what Anne said in regards to this not being nihilistic, because we're not denying the physical, we're not denying the parents and the physical birth, like he's saying, the Tathagata displaying of parents is to pass beings over to the other shore. So it's not a denial of existence. There's still existence. It's just we don't have to have the arisings of the five hindrances for ourselves. And when I hear these sort of sentences like true emancipation means segregation of one's own self from all the bonds of illusion, I read that as that it is my own responsibility to emancipate myself from the bonds of illusion, not thinking about the ego necessarily. I know that there can be a lot of confusion, unnecessary confusion with the self and the ego being part of the practice. And I think that overcomplicates the practice. And so it's good to come back to those, the basics of what the practice is, which is just thought. And you're responsible for your own practice. And I see your hands up again. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a really interesting observation for sure. To point people back to the uncomplicated portion of it, if you want to look for the self, go to Supreme Bodhi. And because there is no thought, there cannot be a self. So just to super simplify it, that is how one has no self, is by being in Supreme Bodhi. Yep. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
that's it. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Cool. We can move along. Also, emancipation is nothingness. Nothingness is emancipation. Emancipation is the Tathagata, and the Tathagata, nothingness. It is not anything that comes about from doing. Such doing is like a castle building. True emancipation does not come about in this way. For this reason, emancipation is at once the Tathagata.
Also, emancipation is the non-created. A potter makes a pot, which breaks to pieces again. Things are not like that in emancipation. True emancipation is birthlessness and deathlessness. That is why emancipation is the Tathagata.
I see your hand is up. Go ahead.
So birthlessness and deathlessness are neither is anything that does not arise nor arises. So the idea that the Buddha defined birth as anything that arises, and death is anything that passes away. So as you're obtaining Supreme Bodhi in the mind in this moment in time, there is neither arising nor is there passing away of thought. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
He is birthlessness, non-extinction, agelessness, and is undying, unbreakable, and indestructible. He is not anything created. Hence we say that the Tathagata enters great nirvana.
What do we mean by agelessness and deathlessness? Age relates to what moves and changes. One's hair becomes white and lines appear on one's face. By death is meant the breaking up of the body, as a result of which life departs. Nothing of this kind arises in emancipation. Since nothing of this kind arises, we say emancipation. With the Tathagata too, there arise no such things of created existence as the turning white of the hair or the appearing of lines on the face. Thus, no aging occurs in the case of the Tathagata. As there is no aging, there is no death.
And then we can look at this. To have those thoughts of aging, one is to step out of Supreme Bodhi in and of itself, but also to have the comparison. So that aging he's talking about requires the comparison. It requires the remembering what was and looking at what is, and that is not, it's not part of the practice. That would be stepping out of the practice. So there is no aging and there is no death. And that goes for our practice too. And we need to look at this in terms of our own thoughts and really apply this to our own experience. Also, emancipation means illness. By illness is meant the 404 diseases and all other ailments which come to one from without and spoil the body. When such do not come about, we say emancipation. When no illness arises, there is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata. The Tathagata has no illness. You can see that is We talked about this a lot because illness and bodily pain is pretty universal. I think that if you think, oh, I'm so sick, guess what happens? You get sicker because your thought. Not to say that you should be in denial, but to say that the thought of I have an illness creates that illness. The thought is what does it. And so when he says the Tathagata has no illness, he has no illness because there is no arising of thought of illness. Go ahead. I see your hand is up.
Well, it's even more majestic than that. So consider that illness is pain and suffering, and that pain and suffering is an effort of your body to get your mind to pay attention to it. So the pain and discomfort you feel is just the attention the body requires. But when you're in Supreme Bodhi, you're already present with the body because the mind is calm and pain fades away. Many people will attest to their physical pains disappearing during meditation, not because they're ignoring them or not because they're in a altered state, but just simply because the mind is with the body in quiet. And so the body no longer has to require pain to stimulate the mind to attend to it. The mind is already there. So the extinguishing of illness is not to say that you don't get sick. Illness is meaning the pain and suffering that comes from being sick is also illness. And it's the discomfort of illness that is gone. And it's gone in Supreme Bodhi. It takes a while to work on that. And you have to work on it. But I mean, I know arthritis, a pain of arthritis or my pain of a headache or muscle pain or anything of the body can be completely extinguished through Supreme Bodhi. It's just that the body no longer requires that it have pain to tell the mind it needs attention. That's it.
Yeah,
So it's
very true.
very, very interesting. That would be considered an esoteric teaching. Someone would go out and get medicine, for instance, if they were sick, instead of, sitting in quiet mind. It seems kind of, yeah, mystical, like mystical. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you.
Cool, thanks. Thus, there comes about no illness in the Dharma body. This state of no illness is the Tathagata. Death is the breaking up of the body and ending of life. There is no death here. What there is the deathless, which is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata. The Tathagata is accomplished in such virtues. How could we say that the Tathagata is non-eternal? Anything such as the non-eternal can never exist then. It is like an adamantine body. How could it be non-eternal? As a result, we do not say that there is any ending of life with the Tathagata. With the Tathagata, what there is purity. There is no defilement. The Tathagata's body does not get defiled by the womb. It is like the Pundarika lotus, whose nature is pure. The same with the Tathagata and emancipation. Thus, emancipation is at once the Tathagata. That is why the Tathagata is pure and undefiled.
And with emancipation, such things as the asrarvas, the pox and warts, and all other such things are done away with. The same with the Tathagata. He has no defilements and no pox or warts. Also, with emancipation, there can be no fighting or refutation. For example, the hunger-ridden entertain the thought of greed and grabbing when they see others taking food. With emancipation, the case is not thus. Also, emancipation is peace and quietude. Ordinary people say that peace and quietude are of Mahasattva, but such is a lie. True quietude means utmost emancipation. Utmost emancipation is the Tathagata.
Also, emancipation means peace and safety. The place where robbers are present has no peace and safety. The place where purity and peace reign is a place of peace and quietude. As there is no fear in this emancipation, we say peace and quietude. Hence, peace and quietude are true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata. The Tathagata is Dharma.
Also, emancipation has no equal. By equal, we may take up the case of a king who has equals in the neighboring kingdoms. The case of true emancipation is not such. Having no equal is like the case of a Chakravartin who has no equal. The same with emancipation. There is nothing equal to it. To have no equal is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata Chakravartin. Thus, there is none who is his equal. There can be no talk of an equal.
Also, emancipation is non-apprehension. One who has apprehension may be likened to a king who fears and slanders the strong neighboring state and has apprehension. Now, with emancipation, there is nothing of the kind. This is like annihilating enmity, as a consequence of which there is no longer any apprehension. The same is the case with emancipation. It has no apprehension or fear. Non-apprehension is the Tathagata.
Also, emancipation is non-apprehension or non-joy. For example, a woman has an only son. As a result of war, he goes to a far-off place. News comes saying that the boy has met with ill fortune, as a consequence of which the mother is worried. Later, she hears of his safety and because of this is glad. Now, with emancipation, there is nothing of the kind. When there is no apprehension of or joy, there is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata. Yes.
Now, it's not to say that we cannot feel joy when we practice. No, it is to point out that in Supreme Bodhi there is no joy because it is a feeling derived of a thought. So all feelings arise from thoughts because thoughts come before feelings. So in Supreme Bodhi, you would not be able to say, oh, I feel extreme joy while I'm in Supreme Bodhi. Then you're not in Supreme Bodhi. So the idea is that there has to be a thought associated with a feeling. And hence, again, back to the 5 skandhas or the
Aggregates, yeah.
5 aggregates, because we have what is contact and naming together causing perception, which is feelings. So it's it's not see that's the interesting part about Supreme Bodhi or enlightenment or true mind is that we can choose whether we're in it or whether we're not in it. So if I want to indulge in joy or if I want to indulge in whatever feeling I need to feel because I want to be part of a non-practicing family or whatever, or a part of a practicing family or wherever I happen to be, or supporting the care of another living being or something, then I can do that because I can choose to do that. So with the Supreme Bodhi, with that choice, you are emancipated because you're no longer at the mercy of your feelings, because you can choose what to have. But he's just pointing to what is Supreme Bodhi and how to look for Supreme Bodhi. When there is no thought or feeling associated, how do you look for it? And he's telling us what it is not.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So I mean those conditions, like needing that person to be okay, or having joy at, because of good news, or because it's relief that it's not bad news. That's all essentially your when you're being, drug around by these externals in order to determine how you feel because of your thoughts about the externals. That's when that's not the practice. That's the um he said a word for it, but that's non emancipation. That's bondage.
Right.
Like the example of the son that goes to war.
Well, and the thing is, it's not to say that there cannot be feelings. So the thing is here that if people were to say that, look at a monastic practice, for instance, say, oh, well, they're happy, they can't have enlightenment because they have feelings. That's not the practice. The practice is to be able to do all things, but do them skillfully and not hurt other living beings, including yourself, of course, but also not be trapped by them. And know. So, what was I saying the other day? I was talking about desire. I was talking about food desire, for instance.
Mhm.
So, and I was talking about intoxication, and that anything can be an intoxicant if you believe that the feeling that you have is your true arising of well-being. So, if I believe that sensation is a true arising of well-being, then I'll be in bondage to that feeling, and I'll want to have that feeling again when it ends. But if I'm in Supreme Bodhi and I understand what is, the end of birth and death, which is quiet mind, that being the true origin of well-being, then intoxication has no bondage, because you can you can feel good about having good things, just like you can feel bad about having bad things, but that it's impermanent, and that it's not for yourself the true arising of well-being or the true arising of suffering, because you don't have to be attached to that. You just go right to Supreme Bodhi and all that gets wiped away.
Yeah, you're not mistaken. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where your well-being comes from. It doesn't come from satisfaction. So that's my input. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, there is no dust or defilement in emancipation, as when in the spring months after sundown the wind raises up a cloud of dust. Now, in emancipation, nothing of this kind obtains. Where there is no cloud of dust, there is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata. And again, no cloud of dust refers to the thought arising, not the denial that the cloud of dust exists or not. This is like a bright gem resting in the knot of dressed hair on the head of a Chakravartin, where there is no fleck of defilement. The nature of emancipation is thus: it has no defilement. Non-defilement can be likened to true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata. True gold does not contain any sand or stone. This is true treasure. When one gains this, one feels wealth. The nature of emancipation is also such a true emancipation. no, sorry, the nature of emancipation is also such a true emancipation. This true treasure can be likened to true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata. When an unglazed pot breaks, there issues a neighing sound. When the adamantine treasure pot, or no, sorry, with the adamantine treasure pot, things are otherwise. Now emancipation emits no neighing sound. The adamantine treasure pot is like true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata. Hence, the body of the Tathagata cannot be destroyed. We say that it neighs. This is as when castor seeds are put into a blazing fire, which flames up and sends forth a popping sound. It is like that. Now, emancipation has nothing of the kind. The adamantine pot of true treasure emits no cracking or breaking sound. Even if innumerable hundreds of thousands of people were to shoot arrows at it, none could break this pot. What emits no cracking or breaking sound is true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata. A poor man is in debt to other people, so he gets bound up and chained in fetters and is punished by whipping, and has to suffer from all worries and pains. Now with emancipation, there is nothing of this kind. There is no debt to pay. This is like a rich person who possesses innumerable yields of treasure, and whose power is unbounded, who owes nothing to other people. The case of emancipation is thus. It has a countless stock of wealth of Dharma and rare treasures, having full power and owing nothing to others. Owing nothing to others may be likened to true emancipation. True emancipation is the Tathagata. I think this is probably a good place to stop. So we can go into Sangha sharing Dana Paramita.